Patch 1.02.3 for Nightreign was released to the game earlier today. And of course, FromSoft hasn't provided us with any numbers to work off of, and that's where I step in. I'll show you the new numbers that came with the new in-game buffs and debuffs so you don't have to go digging for yourself. Let's begin with the best character in the game, Wylders. His relic effect has been buffed. Character skill inflicts blood loss. Applies blood loss of what used to be 50 to now being 60 on the initial grapple. When this grapple does its secondary yanking move, it used to apply 25 blood loss, but now applies 55 blood loss. Ironeyes relic effect that applies heavy poison damage on poisoned enemies has been nerfed. It used to be a base 85 damage and it is now 70. On already poisoned enemies, these are the formulas used to apply the damage. However, based on the patch notes, the new formula should be based on current, or in other words, remaining HP, but early testing indicates it might still be max HP. More testing is required for this. Raider's relic effect has been buffed, hit with character skill to reduce enemy attack power. The duration of this enemy attack power debuff used to be 10 seconds, it is now 13. Revenant's relic effect has been buffed for late game, but nerfed early on. Her relic effect increased max FP upon ability activation, which refers to her summon that she gets from killing enemies. Used to give 1.02 times FP at stack 1, but now gives 1.0075 times FP, and at 50 stacks, she used to have 1.4 times increased FP, but now has 1.415 times increased FP. However, with all this being said, her max stacks cap has increased to 60 instead of 50, which now provides her with 1.51 times FP instead of the initial 1.45 times FP at 50 stacks. Revenant players, how are we feeling about this change? Another change was the improved skill attack power is now plus 7, plus 10, or plus 14 instead of the plus 5, plus 8, or plus 11. Of course, this depends on the variation you receive. We also had some bosses get adjustments in Nightreign. The Fallingstar beast has had its poison, rot, and bleed resist heavily nerfed, from being 999 to now being 252 for all its variations. Some variations, like the crater spawn, already had reduced poison and rot resist, but now it also has decreased bleed resist. The Valiant Gargoyle had all its variations receive decreased armor from 110 to now being 95. As well, he's gotten another nerf to its base HP, as it went from 1745 to 1642, but this only applies to its night boss spawn. The Ancient Dragon has had its base HP reduced from 2575 to 2284. However, this only applies to its night boss spawn. The Great Wyram also received reduced base HP, going from 3272 to 2950, and this only applies to its night boss spawn. The Tibia Mariner has had its base HP reduced from 1745 to 1526 on its night boss spawn. The Duke's Dear Freja has also had its base HP reduced from 1344 to 1218 on its night boss spawn. Quick note that these base HP reductions are their HPs in normal Nightreign expeditions and will still be applied depth adjustments in Deep of Night, but are still gonna be weaker than before. Everdark Augur's Deep of Night form has had its max HP reduced from 12.5% and attacks of all types have been reduced by 7.5%. Some honorable mentions to this patch would be the added sound effect when the attack's impaired on occasion, passive effect is triggered, which I have yet to hear, so hopefully it's distinct. The gradual restoration by flask special effect now provides a small instant heal upon use of the flask, in addition to the existing gradual healing effect, making it more usable in fights. As well, Deep of Night ranking changes not being correctly applied after the end of an expedition, and ranking changes being applied cumulatively with the ranking changes of a subsequent expedition has been temporarily fixed. However, this patch isn't everything that has been added to the game. Changes have been noticed to some files when data mining, so we could be looking at some new DLC information. So be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to be the first to know about new DLC content.